from earth upward. Salvation is God-given. It is God-empowered. It is God-originated. The gift of salvation is not from man to God, but rather it is from God to man. It is not even our love for God. It is God's love for us, sending His Son to die for us. And this is God's grace. Look at this man. Grace is not looking for good men and women to save. Grace is looking for condemned, guilty, unqualified, and helpless men and women to save, to sanctify, and to what? To glorify. This is the purpose of grace. The Son of God dying for the lost humanity. And so today, friends, as we participate in the Lord's table, we are being reminded of the riches and the unlimited grace of God. As we take hold of the elements of the supper, or I call symbols of grace, we are looking back at how our divine Maker was nailed, how He had been stabbed, bleeding, and dying for our death. And as we eat and drink these symbols, we are not only expressing our faith in Him, we are giving a loud and public proclamation of Jesus' victory over sin, and keeps us looking forward to the glorious day of His second coming. That is in 1 Corinthians 11:26. We are not just thanking and giving glory to Him for the cost of our salvation, but we are also coming to the table to acknowledge and experience the blessing of His nourishing presence in our lives. In other words, the symbolism shows that we are as dependent on Christ for spiritual life as we are on food and drink for physical life. You know, in the Passover celebration, there are 4 cups of wine. This is how the Jews celebrate Passover. They have 4 cups of wine. The 3rd cup is an interesting one because it represents the Lamb's blood which purchased our redemption. It was that cup with which which Jesus took during the supper. It was the 3rd cup. And this represents the Lamb's blood, which purchased our redemption. It was that cup with which He identified His work. He said to them, "This cup represents my blood. Take it and drink it." He just mentioned this. This is very amazing. You know, the Jews have a very interesting ceremony that is 2,000 years old, but is still practiced today in some Jewish communities. It's like this. If a young man, Jewish man, falls in love with a young woman, and this young man is interested to marry her, the ceremony that binds them together involves of this young man bringing a cup of wine to her. And he would say to her, "The wine in this cup represents my life. If you drink this wine, you will be mine, and I'll be yours." And so if the girl takes the cup and drinks it, then that's it. Both parents will now calculate the cost of the marriage. The young man would say, "I'm willing to lay down my life in your behalf." Friends, this is exactly what Jesus meant when He said, "Drink it. This is the blood of the new covenant." Here, He was in fact asking His disciples and all those who would follow after, to all of us who are here today, He is asking us to consider very carefully a proposal. It is a proposal of marriage to be joined with him in a spiritual marriage. The disciples understood that, and they chose very solemnly to be married with him. Now, a bride who is betrothed in this fashion would not immediately move in with her husband. There was that what we call betrothal period. And sometimes it would be 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. And during this time, during the betrothal period, the bridegroom will build a place, a suitable place for his bride. And when the house is completed, the father would say to the bridegroom, "You may now go and get your bride." So at a specific time and specific place, the bride and the bridesmaids will meet the bridegroom. It is the bride who will be waiting for the groom. You have a picture of this in the parable of the 10 virgins. And one thing about the ceremony of drinking wine is that they would not drink the fruit of the vine together until they are united together in marriage. This is why the Messiah said, "I will not drink of the fruit of the vine again until I drink it with you in my Father's kingdom." So beloved, as we partake these symbols today, let us be reminded that these are only representations. Even if you double your bread and your cup of juice, it may still be meaningless if you don't have that complete trust and faith on the Savior. It is worth nothing if we don't have that full commitment upon Him. God saves us not because of our trust in a symbol, but He saves us because of our trust, our faith and commitment to the Savior. It is our faith in our Redeemer. And so today, friends, I invite you, all of you, to participate in the Lord's table. We as a church, again and again, I've been telling this, we practice what we call open communion. If you think that you believe on the sacrifices made by Christ for you, then you may participate in the Lord's table. And let us come together into a meaningful communion with the Lord, who is, I believe, spiritually with us today. As we eat and drink these symbols of grace, we're to look in the future, looking forward with eagerness and joy to the time when He will come again and we will have communion with Him in His eternal kingdom. This is my prayer. God bless you all.